All right, Ms. Brown, we're ready to go. Okay, so from this Conservation Foundation, it's kind of a surprise to, I think, most of us here. Does any of the council members remember this happening before, the ones that have some service here? Councilor Wallach?
I remember this happening, I can't remember what year it was, but I lived on King Street. 67 King Street, when they were negotiating to put that subdivision in there, the Maples. There was deals made, and if you notice on the west side of the Maples there, all them evergreens are planted there.
Yes.
For them to take over, that was all bush behind there, behind King Street. And there was a deal made for that farmer to plant all those evergreen trees that are planted along the west side of the Maples. And in turn, this is what was agreed to, I thought, by the developer to maintain this, that center portion, that tree portion, which are a lot of mature oak trees in that bush. So that's who's been maintaining it ever since and logging it. Even out there, and that wouldn't allow equipment in there to log it. They used horses so that they didn't damage any of this bush. I thought it was the Conservation Authority all along that was maintaining it, not a foundation. I thought it was a conservation. So I don't know what would have been written in the developer's agreement on the Maples. He's probably still around. Guy building all, no, he's not anymore. Okay. So, you know, what they're asking here is, well, they transfer it to the Conservation Authority, but then they would charge us likely to help take care of it. I think that's the way I'm reading it. Or do we want it?
There's obviously those options are there, but kind of a surprise. Mr. Sabansky.
So yeah, as far to the best of my understanding from reviewing the documents, when the land was developed, obviously that was unusable woodland. So they kept it all as one between the developer, the town council of the time, and the Conservation Authority. Negotiations did occur, and what occurred was the lands were given to the Conservation Authority Foundation for stewardship. As per the letter, they are no longer in a place where they can continue that stewardship. So they've provided options on what the foundation can do, which is either turn it over to the Conservation Authority, which they would then maintain as a local park, which means that we would be billed for which we would be billed for the majority of the cost, or the town itself could look at taking over ownership and maintenance of the lands itself. So I have spoken to the chairperson and the author of the letter to clarify and assure that, and that was my understanding. It will either go to one or the other. So if council would prefer it to control the future of that land themselves, then it would probably be best to direct staff to enter into negotiations with the foundation for the transfer of lands. If they would prefer it to see in the hands of the Conservation Authority for ongoing maintenance, that can be done too, bearing in mind that because it's a local feature, we would pay the majority of those costs for ongoing maintenance.
Mr. Sabansky, how big a parcel are we looking at size wise? Miss it in there.
I have right here, barely one surface. It is approximately 8.05 acres.
Yeah.
Okay.
This designated woodlot, so there would be very little we could personally do with it. At most, if we were to look at a trail system or something to see that people could enjoy the space, we would have to obviously get through approval of the Conservation Authority. This is woodlot, and it's therefore regulated by themselves.
Okay, so I got Councilor Rodriguez and then the deputy mayor.
Oh, sorry, I'm next. Thank you. I think this is a little bit ahead of itself. I'm not sure if the foundation can transfer to the Conservation Authority without board of directors even having knowledge of the fact and approving such a move. If it's something like that, would have to go through the board of directors approval first before we would even take it on. So that's an unknown. So I'm not sure that we should even be providing direction tonight without those questions answered. There might And then if there is no desire by the town, since we just got rid of our only, took ownership of our only two conservation properties, because we were paying the majority of the expenses. I'm not sure if council even wants to pick up one again, knowing what that is like. So I think there needs to be more information here. And then if council does object to either option, you know, council as a whole could always submit that to the board of directors. But I think more needs to be learned.
Direction may be then that we request that representative from the foundation meet us to present those options and for more clarity.
Yeah, because it needs to be understood if the board of directors, we haven't even seen this or approved it, why are we looking for direction?
The carts before the horse.
Right.
The-
Well, we have to keep in mind that the Conservation Authority, as I've stated a few times, is looking at implementing a asset reserve, which is going to then put another surplus of money that is going to be borne by the taxpayer. So, you know, I'm not sure what the purpose of this maneuver is. Doing it because there's newfound money. And then how does that offset the overages then we get assessed on any conservation land in our jurisdiction? So I think there's still a lot to be learned with it. Before, in my opinion.
Yes.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the board of directors for the foundation is not necessarily the same as the board of directors for the conservation authority. So the board of directors for the foundation could deem the land surplus and dispose of them as they see fit. It would be up to the board of directors for the conservation authority to either accept it as future conservation and lands. If they chose to do so, it would be up to us if we chose to accept it, or they could surplus it and sell it to private landholders. So I'm willing to wait, but if council, if it is proposed to the Conservation Authority to take it on, and if they choose to take it on, then it may be designated a local park. Again, the foundation does not have the authority to bind the board of directors for the Conservation Authority, so those are all conjectures. I understand that. But if council prefers to guide the process, then we have the opportunity here to say so. If council prefers to gain information, then the direction can be to get more information. We got this letter very just recently, and I was able to talk to their representatives and clarify the intent of the letter. So those are some options that council have in their hands too for directing staff tonight.
Deputy?
Yeah, it looks like they just wanna get rid of it, of course. If somebody else, they give them the expense of looking after it. We do already have one that we got a lot of looking after to do. And we are looking after it very well. It's a lot of work for staff. This one I think would be easier. However, if they want to sell it, if they want to get rid of it that bad and do want to sell it, we can buy it for $10. We gave it to them to begin with, so I don't see why we should have to pay anything to take it back.
And I don't think they're suggesting that we would purchase it per se.
I thought there was an option there to purchase it if we wanted.
Purchase it outright.
Direct sale.
Enter into a direct sale with the local municipal or upper tier county. So.
Yes.
One mess up,
Six. That was just a transaction, but.
I'm done.
Councilor Bojan?
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll stand corrected, but I'm just trying to understand it because there's lots of nearby examples just like this. We had a wood, we recently changed something to wood lot during a severance of 4 lots. And it was clear from the town that wood lot was tied to a residential property because we didn't want it. There's another one further down the road that tried to get dumped on the town. And the town and council said we don't want it because it's liability, costs, and it's not usable parkland. There's another development happening right now that changed it to woodlot, and I'm assuming that's going to stay with the developer because that seems to be what happens here. So I just don't see any world where why a town would want to have added liability and added expenses when it's not our property and it's not even usable property. And I would be hesitant to even put a trail through there because then you're just gonna get complaints from the surrounding property owners that things are happening in there that shouldn't be happening in there to begin with. Again, I love parks, but it's just not, you can't even take a tree down. So I don't know how I could agree with any of those options when if this was a new development right now, very similar to the one, not a stone's throw away where we didn't want it. So I just don't see a world where I would want added liability and added expenses for property that adds no value to the ratepayer.
Thank you. Councilor Bovet?
Well, Mr. Bojan just said a lot of stuff I was gonna say too, because then behind Fleming there, we didn't want that property, didn't want the liability. But in this particular piece of forest, the neighbors may have something to say about it, but personally, I don't think we should deal with the conservation authority whatsoever. We've dealt with them before. We've got 2 parks back that weren't being cared for to our standards for sure. So I don't think we should bother with them too much at all. I think we should deal with the foundation if you are going to deal with them, period. I don't think you should get them mixed up because I think they're 2 different bodies. So I know there's already trails running through that bush, by the way. That's probably a modern dog park, to be honest with you. There's a right of way runs along the total east side of that. Behind my property on King Street on the west side, there's a right of way runs right along that fence. As a matter of fact, there's drain tile through there also. And I think the telephone lines run through there also along the back of all the properties. So you do have access to that bush along the east side of it. So, but I guess what I want to say, I don't want to see us get involved with the conservation authority again. Because we're going to look at them and said, we're going to pay for it anyways. Any maintenance, we're going to pay for it. And personally, I don't think they're going to want it. They're getting rid of stuff. They're even tightening up on the conservation authority to get rid of even more, if I'm reading the newspaper correctly. So, either we take it over or else I don't know what you can do with it. But the neighbors might have something to say about it because they get at the time for sure. And Eddie knows that they were heavily involved in what was going to happen with that 8 acres and what it could be used for. But yeah, conservation, stay away if we can.
Ben Clavin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there other creative things that the foundation can do with that property? And what I mean by that, can they abandon it? Can they sell it to someone else? One of the existing landowner neighbors? Yeah, just curious that we're gonna get away on us.
Theoretical realm right now, but if that was our property and I was making recommendations to council on how we could dispose of it in its current form, we would have to certainly get a rezoning and a number of minor variances. The frontage onto the Timber Ridge is not wide enough, so we'd have to get a variance for that. And then we'd have to work with Conservation Authority to rezone a portion enough that maybe someone could build something on. If you did not want to see anything built in there, then the other option would be to sever it in such a manner that each of the adjacent property owners takes a portion of the ownership over it. And then they all have a piece of the forest, or to try to sell it to 1 or 2 individuals that are adjacent to it and then sever it based off of those interested individuals. So in theory, there's a few options. If you want it left then realistically, your only option would be to provide it to one of the adjacent property owners through different forms of severances. If you wanted to sell it to a third party who is not currently adjacent for possibly a development of a single home, then it would require some planning applications.
That's very interesting, but that would be up to them to potentially execute. Obviously they're having a few struggles out there. I think that's pretty common knowledge on some other properties too. And I don't know if they could just abandon something. I don't know exactly how a foundation is set up as far as ownership. I just don't know the answer to that. They can pull out, yeah.
Councilor Vacy?
On that, what, Mr. Van Clapper's talking about, could a homeowners association? So they all own a piece of the pie, cause they're all gonna scream if we do anything with it. 'Cause it's all in their backyards.
Yes.
So they all, I don't know how many houses are, everybody gets 1/30th of the forest and they can maintain it, they can put trails through, they can do whatever they want with it. And puts no liability on us.
There, we have numerous what's called common blocks in the municipality, mostly around beaches in this area.
That's what I'm thinking.
But yes, a through common block could be set up with every interested party within a set radius of that could have whatever number of ownerships there is. They could be that 1/30th or 1/80th ownership, how many ever in that area sign up for ownership of it. Be legally more complicated, but it is certainly doable.
And that would be up to them. That's all I have, thank you.
All right, Councilor Rodriguez?
Thank you. I don't know if we should just be deferring, like I said, for more information. And possibly when we go back and ask for more information, provide those suggestions on. Have you looked at the viability of private sale or severing off to these landowners? Cause I would also prefer that to happen. As you stated, yeah, we're in no position to be taking on more costs and more land and more assets. Especially when we now have a new czar in place in the province that's gonna make further cutbacks, so. And we have disposed of other stuff in different ways, so it's not like it has to come to us. These aren't the only two options, because I've seen it go to private, other stuff go to private entities, so you're exactly correct. These are not the only two options. They're probably their easiest options and hoping for that, but if there's no desire by this council to take on ownership, we should be stating that.
Question.
So to me, either defer or decline.
Councilor Bolton?
I think, yeah, I'm of the opinion, so staff's looking for direction. The letter's asking if we're interested in any of the above mentioned options. So me personally, I guess my direction or my ideal direction to staff would be not interested in any of those options. In fact, we have a precedent set that we don't take on woodlot caused through, like, that's built through development. And that's why we're not interested in any of those options. And then so it's up to them. It's up to them to look at these other options that are very great options. That other one did that. I think some of those property owners got a piece of that woodlot. But in terms of us as a town, we don't take woodlot.
Clerk?
Adam, we just did a,
Had your finger up first.
Mayor just asked about
Which figure?
the motion. We had just that staff proceed, council direct staff. We could amend the motion if mover and seconder is okay with that.
I'll summarize what I've witnessed as the stat.
Yeah, that's what I was just
Leave that as that, that's fine. So overall, I am hearing that council's not interested in owning the property. We can always make suggestions of what the foundation does with the property, but that's their choice in the end. So my suggestion would be that I write them a letter noting that, thank you for this offer, we're not interested. However, if you would like to work with the town to discuss planning applications, which could help you surplus the lands in the future, if that's the direction you go, we'd be happy to work with you to do so. And just leave it at that.
Councilor
But would we be promoting or have any interest in that developers buying that and building houses? Like that would be a big, bad deal
They can't.
out there. That's why
It's
that,
designated woodlot.
For rezoning.
why it was maintained in the first place.
I
And
don't
why
think-
they had to plant that bush on the other side.
It's designated a significant woodlot.
Okay,
So
it is.
there is a little bit of flexibility where if a developer came in and did some remedial plantings somewhere else, they may be able to get just one house in there. But I would suggest it'd be extremely unlikely that they would gain the support to do any more than that. And I would suggest that even getting one house in there would be a challenge.
Fair enough, thank you.
Yes, Councilor.
Thank you. Although we are saying or we may be saying or voting that we thank you, but we're not interested in your options. There is a caveat there that you should appreciate. If the foundation hands it over to the authority, you're now out of the conversation and you're paying whether you like it. So I think that that cannot be ignored in this scenario. So I almost think on top of that, you would need to, council's direct staff to send a letter to the board of directors stating that you fully object to owning, and here's our reasonings, and that's where we kind of go into our precedence setting of how we don't take these on traditionally, as Councillor Boshin laid it.
Okay, anything further?
As Mr. Sabansky spoke to, Adam, would you want direction by way of motion? Because this motion just says direction. You want this crafted to give that direction. So it's voted on.
Might be a good idea, especially if we're gonna be encouraging the Conservation Authority to do something.
So right now, the mover and seconder, Councillor Vaizey and Councillor Rodriguez are okay. If I remove the line that just says, and that council provide direction to staff on how to proceed, just remove that. And then you can provide me the direction you want instead. So we'll just amend the motion. Well, right now the motion just says, and that council provide direction. That's not something for you to vote on.
Yeah.
We'd actually need to put the direction in here.
Correct.
So if you're okay, I can just cross that out
Yes,
and then
yes.
you can give me that
Yes.
direction. Okay. Councillor Vaizey, are you okay with that?
The staff response to the conservation or the foundation, noting that they are not interested in owning the lands.
You want me to, like, are you saying that, getting yays and then I'm writing it down?
Mhm.
Okay, council direct staff. To respond to foundation.
That they are not interested in obtaining the land. But we'll work with them on any planning applications which might help them during the surplus process.
If I was typing, it would be.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. She's typing, she'd be ahead of you.
Not interested in acquiring the lands, or like acquiring? Receiving?
Acquiring, paying.
Well,
Acquiring,
I,
it's just sale, so acquiring is an appropriate word.
I'm. If I may,
Hmm.
again, you're forgetting about the other option here, so it has to be clear that we're not interested in either option being provided to us.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna,
way you're covering the fact that even if you give this to the authority, we still don't, we don't approve of that.
gonna get that into the second part.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Not
Acquiring,
interested.
not interested in acquiring the lands.
Alright. Lands.
Offers to the foundation if they want to discuss innovative planning applications that could assist with surplusing the lands, we'd be willing to meet with them to discuss doing so.
I need to type this.
Yeah, we have a lot going on.
Right, and offers the foundation assistance.
Mhm. In reviewing planning processes that may assist
Potential planning program.
potential planning processes that may assist with surplusing the lands if they wish to do so. To a second paragraph.
Okay,
That staff authors a letter to the board of directors of
foundation board of directors.
the Conservation Authority.
Both.
First one's for the foundation, the second one is for the conservation authority, because we're encouraging the conservation authority that we don't want them to take on the lands, right? We can CC the foundation on that letter as well.
Okay,
I'll remember to do that. I'm not gonna try to write that one.
Sorry, the first one is for the SCRCA Foundation, the second is an SCRCA executive or the board. Okay. Directors, yeah.
Noting the town's objection.
Yeah.
To the conservation authority taking management of those lands.
I think the letter's done.
And sign it.
Due to current precedents. and Ongoing maintenance costs.
Andrew?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, letters to
On the back now.
Sorry, due to current
Due
precedents?
to,
Due to
I guess,
precedents?
due to precedents
Yeah. Yep.
and ongoing maintenance costs.
Can write faster, but the mayor wouldn't be able to read it, so we'll take that one slow.
Thank you, clerk. Yeah, I'll reread it. Moved by Councillor Vacy, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez. That the correspondence from the St. Clair Conservation Foundation be received. Council directs staff to respond to the SCRCA Foundation that the town is not interested in acquiring the lands and offers the foundation assistance in reviewing potential planning process that may assist in surpassing the lands if the wish to do so. And that staff authors a letter to the SCRCA Board of Directors noting the town's objections to the
CA taking.
CA taking over management of the lands due to precedents and ongoing maintenance costs. Please don't ask me to read that again.
I wrote his best.
Are we all clear on that?
Well, just a couple other options on here. It may be addressed there about entered in an agreement with local municipality to incur annual expenses of the lands. Mention that, that's an option they're saying, or they could enter into an agreement with the county and the municipality to pay for the expenses of the lands. We're not interested in that neither,
I
right?
don't think so. I think this pretty well covers it.
Cover them too, okay.
We'll note in the letter that we're not interested in paying.
Yeah, okay. That was one of the options.
Yes, and that was the response to both those options.
Yeah.
That should cover it, Councillor. Yeah, call for it.
Adam's got it.
Thank you. All those in favor? Carried.
Sorry, I didn't see hands. Did you see?
Yes, there was 5-1.
Perfect.
Okay, item number 9.1. Correspondence recommended reading and routine approval. Moved by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren, that the correspondence items A to C, that's A to C, relating to the recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution, be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. To my left, anything to my left? To my right? Councillor Rodriguez.
Thank you. Item C, the site plan agreement for 3826 Egremont Road. If I may ask our planner, if we are in a forward movement with what's been in this agreement, or are there any stopping points? Is everything going in the right direction?
Through your worship, this is in relation to Lake Life Studio.
Correct.
Yes, so the site plan agreement has been signed, security has been provided to the municipality. So staff are now waiting for confirmation that the site plan agreement has been registered on title. And once that has been received by staff, then the applicants, the owners of the business can move forward to the building permit stage.
So we're still quite a ways away.
Through your worship, no, not necessarily. Only the site plan agreement, the registration takes about a week to 2 weeks. I'm not sure if staff have received the acknowledgement and direction for signature as of yet. I'm not aware that we have. But normally, the registration takes about a week to 2 weeks. And then if they're ready to, it was recommended, to the owners, to work with building services staff simultaneously as we were going through the site plan process, just because they could review their drawings. And then once the site plan agreement is registered on title, if everything was ready to go from the permit stage, it would be done at that time.
Thank you.
Hearing nothing further, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, let's go to item number 10, new business related to planning. Counselor Bojan, anything from you?
Nothing for planning, thank you.
Counselor Lovett?
Just one item, this item's been asked many times and we were told it's coming, but so is Christmas. Surplus, lands, bridges, stuff like that. We were supposed to receive a report. Been asking this for a couple of years now. So, what surplus lands, bridges, stuff that we have? And how far along are we from presenting that report?
I think Counselor Lovett, I'm going to defer that question to Mr. De Silva, who might have an answer for you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm 75% done that report, so I hope to get it to you in September.
By Christmas, that's good. I would-
Before Christmas for sure.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
You didn't say what Christmas. Counselor Vasey?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Counselor Van Claveren?
Maybe one question in regards to our last topic on the foundation. Do they have any more lands in our municipality? Do we know the answer to that?
I don't, Mr. Bansky might know that answer. I'm not aware. I wasn't even aware of the foundation, so not much help to you there.
Maybe I'm not looking for an answer, but maybe that would be kind of cool to know. So prevent any surprises later, possibly.
Mr. Bansky?
To best to my knowledge, they don't have additional land holdings other than the lot at this time, to Wyoming.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Counselor Rodriguez?
No, thank you, but to Mr. Van Cleven, I will be sure to ask that question.
Please do.
Deputy?
No, nothing, thanks.
Okay, to declare that a business closed. Okay, I guess that's all we have for this evening. I have a motion by Deputy Mayor McHugh, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren. The regular council meeting be adjourned until the next regular planning meeting on Monday, September the 29th, 2025. Before I call for the vote, I want to thank our planners and for the what they've done with this meeting together this evening. Call for the vote. All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.